Hello grade 9 learners, I am Ms. Levi C. Herpacio, this episode's learning facilitator. This lesson will cover the most essential learning competency that will explain how respiratory and circulatory system work together to transport nutrients, gases, and other molecules to and from the different parts of the body. When you eat food, you are actually using the chemical energy that fuels your body to do various activities. How are these nutrients, fluids, gases, and other molecules transported in your body? There are two organ systems that work together to allow these things to happen. These are the respiratory system and the circulatory system.
Nowadays, in the time of pandemic, if a person is experiencing symptoms like fever, colds, and has a hard time breathing, there is a necessary measure to keep oneself away from the suspicion of having acquired the virus that weakens the respiratory system. This can be explained by the interaction of respiratory and circulatory system if the virus gets in the body.
How is this possible? You will learn all of this in the succeeding lessons. Let's start by studying the coordinated parts and functions of the organs in the circulatory and respiratory system that will aid in the transfer of nutrients, gases, and other molecules to and from the different parts of the body. Circulatory system is also known as cardiovascular system. Let's first be familiar with its major parts.
In humans and other animals, the necessary nutrients, gases, and liquids are transported in the body through the blood as one of the major parts of the circulatory system. Aside from the blood, heart is also one of its major parts. Heart pumps the blood throughout the body and it is considered as the main organ in the circulatory system. It has 4 chambers with specific functions. The 2 chambers named atria are the receiving chambers of the heart. The 2 ventricles are the pumping chambers, moving blood to the lungs and into the body. There is a valve between atrium and ventricle to prevent blood from flowing backwards. These are like one-way door that keeps the blood moving in one direction. Blood vessels carries the blood throughout the body. We have 3 types of blood vessels, namely arteries that carries the blood away from the heart, veins that carries blood towards the heart, and capillaries are the smallest blood vessels in the body connecting the smallest arteries to the smallest veins. Capillaries serves as the actual site of gas exchange.
Knowing the major parts of the circulatory system, let us now trace how the blood flows to transport gases, nutrients, and other molecules throughout the body.
Blood returns from the body to the heart via the superior and inferior vena cavae. It first enters the right atrium, then through the tricuspid valve and into the right ventricle. The right ventricle pumps the deoxygenated blood throughout the pulmonary artery to the lungs. The oxygenated blood returns back to the heart through the pulmonary vein. And into the left atrium, it goes to the mitral valve and finally into the left ventricle, which is responsible for pumping the oxygenated blood through the aorta and out of the body.
The respiratory system works directly with circulatory system to provide oxygen to the body. This substance moves into the blood vessels that circulates the oxygen-rich blood to tissues and cells in the body. Let us now look at this diagram showing the human respiratory system. The respiratory system is also known as the human breathing system. It is responsible for taking in oxygen and expelling the carbon dioxide. Let us now review the parts. Can you name them one by one?
It is separated from the upper and lower respiratory tract. Air enters the upper respiratory tract through the mouth or nose and nasal cavity where it is filtered, warmed, and moistened. Next, it passes into the pharynx and then into the larynx, which is also known as the voice box. From here, the air passes to the trachea, also known as the windpipe. The trachea is surrounded by 15 to 20 C-shaped rings of cartilage at the front and side which help protect it and keep it open. The trachea divides into two smaller tubes called bronchi which pass air to the left and right lungs. Once inside the lungs, the bronchi split several ways forming tertiary bronchi. These continue to divide forming bronchioles which are narrow tubes less than 1 millimeter in diameter. Eventually, air enters alveolar sac and alveoli where gas exchange takes place. The diagram shows the two breathing process, the inhalation and exhalation. Can you spot the difference between the two? When we inhale, oxygen enters our body. When we exhale, carbon dioxide exits in our body. When we inhale, ribs move out and chest space increases, while when we exhale, ribs move in and chest space decreases. Diaphragm muscle contracts when we inhale and relaxes when we exhale. Important concepts to remember. The respiratory and circulatory systems work together to maintain homeostasis. The respiratory system moves gases into and out of the blood, while the circulatory system moves blood to all parts of the body. This aid in the transport of essential materials needed for the normal functioning of other organ systems.
I hope you learned well from this discussion. Again, this has been Ms. Levy C. Herpacio, your Science 9 teacher, saying goodbye and happy learning!